So, welcome back to What's Happening to My Body. If you're new here, this podcast exists because so many women reach a point where they feel disconnected from their body and no one has really explained why. This is the space where we talk honestly about what's going on beneath the surface without fear, shame, or unrealistic advice. And today we're diving into something that's often the very first sign that something is shifting. Your mood, your energy, your sleep, feeling more emotional than usual, more anxious for no obvious reason, exhausted even when you're doing everything right, or lying awake at night wondering why your brain won't switch off.
And if you ever thought, why do I feel so different emotionally, or why am I so tired when even when I'm doing everything right? This episode is for you. Our goal today is not to overwhelm you, but to show you more so and help you understand why this is happening so you can stop blaming yourself and start supporting your body in a way that actually makes sense. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the basics, which is estrogen and progesterone. So, estrogen is often thought as the feel good hormone. It supports mood, focus, confidence, and energy. It also plays an important role in serotonin, the neurotransmitter that helps you feel calm and emotionally steady. Now, progesterone, on the other hand, is more of a calming hormone. It supports sleep, reduces anxiety and helps your nervous system slow down. In perimenopause, these hormones don't gently decline, but they fluctuate. 1 month estrogen might be high, the next one it might completely crash. Progesterone is often the first one to drop. That's because ovulation becomes less consistent during this phase. And that imbalance alone can explain so much.
And I think what's really important here to say, most women have never been taught this. So when these changes start happening, it feels confusing and very scary. You might notice that 1 month you feel confident and energized, and the other month you feel flat, emotional, or overwhelmed. And there's no clear explanation. That inconsistency can really mess with your trust in your body. And because no one warned you that hormones can behave like this, it's easy to assume something is wrong with you. But let's talk about mood for a moment. So many women describe feeling more reactive, like their emotions are closer to the surface. They might feel more irritable, more sensitive to stress, or more likely to cry over things that never used to affect them. And often they will say, I don't recognize myself anymore.
Exactly. And this is where estrogen fluctuation really matters. When estrogen drops, serotonin often will drop with it. That can show up as low mood, anxiety, tearfulness, or a sense of I don't feel like myself anymore. Now, when progesterone is low, the nervous system doesn't get the same calming signals, so anxiety can feel louder and harder to regulate. And low motivation often isn't just laziness, it's your nervous system feeling all this fatigue.
Yeah, and this is such an important reframe because so many women interpret low motivation as a personal failure, and they think they've lost discipline, resilience, or drive. But in reality, their body is tired, not unmotivated. It's responding to hormonal changes by conserving energy, even mentally. You still expect yourself to perform the same way.
Absolutely. And now sleep changes are one of the most common and frustrating symptoms of perimenopause. So, trouble falling asleep, waking up at 2 or 3 a.m., restless sleep, or night sweats. And again, hormones are a huge piece of this. Progesterone helps us feel sleepy and calm. So, when it drops, falling and staying asleep becomes a lot harder. So then when estrogen also helps regulate your body temperature. So when that fluctuates, night sweats and overheating becomes so common.
And what makes sleep changes especially hard is how much they affect everything else. And I know this very well, unfortunately. When you're not sleeping well, your tolerance drops. You're more emotional, more anxious, more reactive, and often more critical of yourself. Many women tell us that the nighttime anxiety feels worse than anything else. Your body is tired and your mind is weird. And again, this is because you not sorry, this isn't because you're doing something wrong. It's your nervous system struggling to fully downshift. One thing we really want to highlight is stress, and not just emotional stress. We're talking about that load of nervous system, work stress, mental load, undereating, overtraining, poor sleep, emotional responsibility. All of this stack up.
Yeah, 100%. Well said. And also, when estrogen and progesterone are fluctuating, your body becomes a lot more sensitive to stress. So things that you used to tolerate, like busy schedules, intense training, undereating, poor sleep, suddenly feels so much heavier, and they often feel too much. So cortisol, your main stress hormone, often becomes more dominant during perimenopause. And when cortisol is high or dysregulated, it can worsen your anxiety, disrupt sleep, increase cravings, and drain your energy.
Yeah.
And this doesn't mean that you are fragile. It just means that your body is working a lot harder to stay balanced.
And this is often where women feel frustrated with themselves. They will say, I used to be able to handle this. And the truth is, you still can, but your body needs more recovery and support to do so. This phase asks for adjustments, not toughness.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? We want to be really clear here. Supporting your hormones does not mean doing everything perfectly, but it means doing a few things consistently and with a lot of compassion. So, first, the most important thing is nervous system support. This can look like slower mornings, eating without multitasking, so slowing down when you're eating, obviously,
Yeah.
gentle movement, or even just a little bit less high pressure expectations of yourself. The second thing, which we can't stress enough about this, is eating enough. Undereating is one of the biggest drivers of hormonal and nervous system stress, especially in this phase. So it's very important that you eat enough.
And this part can feel really confronting because so many of us were taught that pushing harder, eating less, and doing more was the answer.
A
But
hundred
in this
percent.
phase, yeah, in this phase, those strategies often backfire. Your body needs fuel, consistency, and safety, and not restriction. And that doesn't mean giving up on goals. It means changing how you support your body while working towards them.
100%. Now, the next one that I really want to touch base is adjusting exercise. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean stopping training, but it's about matching the intensity to your capacity. Sometimes what might mean less heat sessions and more strength, more walking or recovery based movement. And the last one that is very important also to touch base on is sleep support. Not
Yeah.
like we don't expect perfect sleep hygiene, but some realistic changes. Things like have an earlier dinner, lower light at night. So, reducing late night scrolling and creating a safe sense of safety or sleep hygiene before bed. So, making like those 20 to 30 minutes before bed really for you to slow down and re-regulate your nervous system. And remember, the small changes add up at the end.
Yeah, of course. Small changes can make a huge difference. So, if this episode made you feel seen or relieved, that's exactly why we are here. So many women go through this quietly thinking they're alone or failing, and girls, you're not.
Abs- Absolutely. And, we'll be talking a lot more about symptoms and about help throughout this series. But in the next episode, we're going to be talking about something very, very important, which is gut health in perimenopause. So make sure you follow the podcast and you don't miss out. And you also follow our Instagram, which is at NutriFit Project. And you also find our personal Instagram on there, which we always share a lot more content over there as well. And you can also ask us as many questions as you want. But just remember that if this episode was resonating with you, make sure to share with someone who keep asking you what's happening to my body.
Thank you for being here and for trusting us with this conversation.